All right. Hey, what's going on, everyone? This is Tim Vixay with my crippled friend, and this is episode number 45. And I am in the Oscar Mike studio with Oscar Mike Actual, also known as Oma, also known as Mr. Noah Currier. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing well.
You can speak.
I feel like I'm not allowed right now.
You can speak now. This is the part where you talk.
Man, there was so much pressure there.
Dude, I don't know. Maybe one day I'll phase out the intro, and we'll just do like a cold open if someone can develop like a cool theme song or something for the show.
Oh, I asked my brother.
But anyways, today is that would be dope. Whoa. Yeah, hang on.
Whoa.
Hang on.
You don't let me do anything on this. I don't even know why I volunteered to do this.
Today's March 9th, 2020. I don't know why I had to look at that just to remember. But yeah, a year ago today, you and I sat down and we recorded MCF numero uno. So today is our anniversary.
All right.
Like a little sommeliers, we're drinking some fine Napa Valley wine.
It's hard to drink when you can't move this microphone away from your face.
Yeah, you can. Just swing it up. Boop. Boop. In and out, in and out.
You got to keep it a fist from your face.
Yeah, but when you're drinking, you just kind of swing this thing away, bring it back. It's all good. Hey, we got a kind of a special guest in the studio. It's one of these national championship trophies for the USQRA National Championship.
Which hopefully still happens. Coronavirus.
Yeah, there's I don't want to say there's talks, but there's contingency plans.
I think it's a little too early to tell, but at the same time, who knows?
As of right now, we are still on.
Yes.
But before we get to that weekend, I kind of wanted to talk about 2 weekends from now, you'll be celebrating your 40th birthday?
You son of a...
41st? 42nd?
I'm not entertaining this.
43rd.
I already know that I'm getting old. You don't have to make it worse.
Well, you graduated in 2000. So you got your 20-year high school reunion coming up, which I feel like that makes you 38.
Yes, sir.
What are we doing?
You know, I was just thinking something else to celebrate, or maybe celebrate's not the right word. Something to remember. 3 days prior to that is the anniversary of the invasion.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
March 19th.
17th anniversary. So if the Iraq War was a kid, he'd be 17 and going into high school.
Yep.
That's insane.
Oh, he'd be a junior.
Oh, dude, one thing I thought about the other
He'd
day.
be signing up for the Marine Corps right now.
One thing I thought of, yeah. One thing I thought of the other day was, the Afghanistan war is 19 years old.
Yep.
And potentially there's guys that
There are.
Well, what I was going to say was there's guys that could have potentially enlisted post 9/11. Oh, it's coming up, not quite yet. But there's going to be guys that enlisted post 9/11 and could have spent their entire career during a conflict period. And I don't know. I don't think anyone else can say that.
Yeah, a 2-decade war.
Yeah, it's insane, right? If you really think about it. So, what are we doing on your birthday?
Medieval times, swords, shields. We make battle.
Turkey, what do they call it? Turkey stew? Or
dragon
stew?
Dragon blood.
Dragon blood stew.
Yeah.
Dragon egg?
Dragon egg.
Do they call the chicken dragon too?
What do they call the garlic bread?
What do they call the garlic bread there? It's pretty damn good.
Yeah.
You know what? Surprisingly, for, I guess you would call it an amusement restaurant, the food there is not that bad.
No.
I don't mind it.
No.
I bet washing dishes at that restaurant would be pretty easy.
Yeah.
So you don't have to fuck around with forks or anything.
No.
It's kind spray down the pewter plates or whatever they are.
Yeah.
That's kind of like become almost a little tradition of ours. We just go and celebrate medieval times.
Yep.
Or celebrate birthdays at medieval times.
Yeah, and I think it's more fun for us to fight with our swords up at the handicap section than it is.
Did
watch the
you
show.
ever go there as a kid?
Yeah, I went there once or twice.
Yeah, because I didn't go there until I was well into adulthood.
Yeah,
Like maybe 4 years ago. I think it was the first time I went there.
I think you'd have to be pretty young to like really buy into it though.
Yeah, you're definitely not going to take like a 14, 15-year-old there for his birthday.
No, you got to be a little kid to really believe it all. But with alcohol, it's a good time. It's probably more fun as an adult.
I think it is pretty fun. Like it's highly underrated as far as birthday celebrations.
It's kind of like watching those old like kung fu movies, you know.
It is. I don't know. I always seem to have a good time. I think this will be my fourth time? Third or fourth time I've gone.
Yeah.
So, and then we got a little hockey game we're going to afterwards.
Yeah.
Should be a good time. I'm actually really looking forward to just hanging out with everyone.
I know. We have to finalize the list because more people are asking.
Oh, yeah? I'll tell them no. It's going to be me, you, and a whole stable of ladies.
Height.
Agreed. What, as far as like birthdays and getting older and shit, do you ever set like any like resolutions like 38's going to be the year I stop watching pornography, or 38's going to be the year that I start a family, or?
Sure.
I'm just asking, like, is there any like big goals or things you want to accomplish?
I mean, they're mostly work related. I don't. I mean, the whole family thing. I'm not gonna say, you know, I got put a deadline on it. Like I got to do it when I'm 38.
You think it would have already happened by now if you didn't get injured? You'd pump one out already.
No, man, my track record's pretty good.
Accidental pump out.
No, my dad gave me solid advice when I was a teenager. I've stuck by it ever since.
Anal.
Right.
Great.
Yeah.
Good job, Mark. No, I always, like when I turned 30, I kind of made a list of 40 things that I wanted to do before I turned 40. A lot of them were kind of like travel related and shit like that, but there was also some stuff like, you know, maybe look at trying to finish your degree, or at the very least just burning up the rest of your GI Bill.
Yeah.
Just things like that. I mean, I don't know. 40 just seems like such a big number. It's like, I mean, like I remember when my parents were still in their 30s and thinking that they all had their shit together. And I'm slowly figuring out that most adults do not have their shit together.
You know, I always think about my dad was a little bit younger than I am when he adopted me. I thought that was a cool, you know, like just jump right in and adopt me.
You thinking about adopting a kid?
No, I'm just saying I respect it.
If you were, would you outsource it or would you stay domestic?
I mean, I just throw my number in, right? You get what
Yeah,
you
but
get.
if you had a choice, if they were like, hey, we got a good lead on some like Nigerian kids.
You make it sound like it's a sale.
Isn't that what it kind of is, though? It's kind of like going to the... Like,
I heard it's super expensive, too.
well, I mean, when you adopt a dog, it's pretty expensive. So if you're adopting a human, I imagine it's like at least threefold.
Sevenfold.
You think? No.
From a dog to a human? I just went human years to dog years.
Oh, you're right. Yeah. I don't know if it works that way. I just feel like, at least with a dog, you're able to like track its pedigree, figure out, maybe you're looking at greyhounds and like this.
Can you do a 23andMe on the kid before you sign the paperwork?
I would want to. I mean, if he was related in any way to like a Wilt Chamberlain or like a Kareem Abdul-Jabbar,
Genghis Khan, like
we all are. We talked about that the other day. Like if I ever did a 23andMe, I think I definitely have some Mongol blood in me. But anyways, that's enough about birthdays and adopting kids. We got nationals coming up at the end of the month. What is that, like 3 weeks away? It's the 9th, 20 days-ish, right?
Ish.
20, yeah, right?
What's the date today?
Today's the 9th. Am I doing math right?
It starts on the 27th. So
18?
18.
No.
Yeah.
18 plus 9, 27. Yeah, you're right. This will be our second year hosting it. What did we learn from the first year?
Transportation is a mofo.
Yeah.
Well, last year, I mean, not only were we slightly underprepared for what was going to happen, but we had a couple teams give us their departure time their departure time as their arrival time. So as we slotted it all in, two of the teams gave us the times backwards, and then like 6 teams' flights were delayed more than an hour.
You can call those 2 teams out that don't know how to fill out a form. If you want to, I'll bleep. I mean, I could bleep it out later. If you know.
I don't remember who it was.
I bet you it was probably like.
If I had to guess,
It was probably DC.
I was gonna say like NorCal.
It was probably DC and NorCal.
Yeah.
We'll edit that out later. What are we doing as far as transportation this year that do you think is going to help like improve kind of the clusterfuck?
Well, first we have to get everybody's times right. Then we have to. Well, we're getting more buses this time.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're getting. Last year we didn't have any full size buses on the pickup end, and this year we're gonna have 2.
That should help things out.
Oh yeah,
Pretty fairly, I guess.
well, and then as long as flights don't get delayed, where you're not getting 4 teams in at once because of delays.
That's always tough, right? With like a big airport like O'Hare.
Yeah.
And then people coming in from all over, and I don't know. I guess maybe the time of year too could affect things.
Well, this year we got 10 vans, 2 smaller buses, and 2 bigger buses.
Yeah.
So we should be able to do some good rotations.
And are these gonna be the vans that like the teams can also use to like privately to go do their store runs or whatever they need?
Yep.
Yeah, that's that was one of those things where I was thinking it might just be a big waste of money, but it seemed like a lot of the teams were utilizing that last year. There were like some teams that didn't, but the ones that actually needed to go and do their store runs, they freaking loved it, and I don't know of any other tournament that has done that. So
I think we do some things that are pretty unique.
yeah, I mean, I'm staring at this freaking trophy here, and it's like, I mean, the ones that like Phoenix did were pretty cool, but I don't think anyone really has gone up and above.
Yeah.
Like above and beyond of like what we're doing. And you can actually check it out if you're on the YouTube, if you're watching the podcast on YouTube, or check out the video, because I mean, this trophy is handcrafted with love from shout out to Rob Lyday and Mark Patterson, just because I know how much work they put into it. And
yeah, they had to make over 20 of them. I mean, not like obviously like that. That's only for the champs, but all the best in class and MVP and all that stuff.
Yeah, and the like the best in class trophies, I was fortunate enough to get one last year, and it was the first like award that kind of nature that I actually hung up, just because I'm not just gonna let that sit in my closet, man. A big piece of wood and metal like that. I was just like, exactly. I was like, I gotta hang it up, man. They dropped it off yesterday, man, and it was just cool just talking to them about just some of the shit that they do, and just like two craftsmen. You know, one's primarily a metal fab, and Rob does, you know, a lot of woodworking and shit. And it's just like, just to hear him talk about materials and, you know, how the bases of some of the trophies are
started as solid blocks that he had to talk that guy into.
Yeah, they were pretty much like reclaimed pallet, and it ended up turning out to be some kind of I don't know, it was like some kind of poplar,
beautiful
birch.
poplar.
Yeah,
that he drove out to Poplar Grove.
Right, which is nice. That's actually kind of a cool little Easter egg that, like, I mean, Oscar Mike pretty much started in Poplar Grove, Illinois, and then have, you know, some trophy bases made out of poplar.
What's just funny about the name Poplar Grove is I don't think that there is a Poplar Grove in Poplar Grove.
You know, I was going to ask you about that. I don't think I've seen a single one.
Oh, there's no poplar trees here.
Maybe at one point.
Maybe.
Until they buzzed it all down and made this development.
Right.
Yeah.
This is where it was, right here.
Well, that's what they say about, like, Redland, is they call it Redland because of, like, the red soil, which, I mean, I guess it is kind of red clayish, but how did they figure that out? So, how are we doing with volunteers?
Good.
And all?
Yeah, we got a bunch of great volunteers.
Starting to fill up. Are there any slots left, if anyone, like, local or?
Yeah, I'm sure there's still a bunch of, you know, what we try to do is get people that were familiar with, you know, the harder positions, any of the scorekeepers or, you know, table stuff.
Yeah.
Penalty box stuff.
That reminds me, I still need to sign up. Where is there a website that I can do that at?
OscarMike.org.
And,
OscarMike.org.
And there'll be links kind of right on that homepage?
Right on that homepage.
Right on it.
Right on it.
Right next to the shop tab?
Yeah, I mean, it might be there. Yeah, it's somewhere up in there.
Yeah, I mean, if you get lost down the shopping section, you can always click on it, buy a couple T-shirts, and actually, if you use promo code VICSAY for this week, everything's gonna be 90% off with free shipping. So go ahead and try that. See what happens. I mean, that's really all I wanted to talk about. Nationals. Who do you think's gonna win it this year? Because we're out of contention. It sucks because the trophies are cool. We're not even in contention. We got a whole freaking living room full of trophies that none of us can win.
I think that there's 8 teams in D2 that could all put up a good fight, or at least 6 of them. And then in D1, I mean, I think your top 4 are going to remain your top 4. It's just who shows up.
Yeah. No bold predictions, no upsets.
Not really. I mean, I think the D2 stuff is going to be interesting to see who ends up rising to the top there.
I think D2 is going to be really interesting because a lot of those teams haven't played a lot of the other teams.
Right.
So it's going to be kind of like who's done their homework and who's done their scouting, who's watching film, if there is film. And
yeah, if there is.
And then just seeing who can try to come up with a game plan, but then also adjust the game plan. So, yeah, I'm actually really interested in watching the D2 this year.
Yeah, because all the D1 guys know each other. You know, they play each other at the same tournaments over and over.
Yeah.
D2, you got east of the Mississippi, west of the Mississippi, and nobody knows anything about the other side.
Yeah. Well, if you're not going to do it, I'm going to make some predictions. I think Denver is by far the runaway favorite. It's kind of theirs to lose. They're just really strong. They got one of the best players in the world. They're well coached. They're well disciplined, and they're also a pretty tight knit group of guys that live in Denver and practice consistently together.
Yeah.
And I think there's something to be said about that. Gives you kind of an edge, because I mean, you look at like our team, I'd say our biggest deficiency, man, is we just don't consistently practice once a week.
For sure.
Minimum once a week. You know, a lot of these teams are getting together 2-3 times a week. And it kind of shows. It really does when we get together and we have to kind of take a quarter and figure out everyone's tendencies and all that. And, as far as D2.
And you never know if Brett's going to leave you, you know, for childbirth or something.
It's not like he had to even do anything. Could have just FaceTimed it, right?
Seriously.
The D2, I haven't really looked at like the brackets. Boise's going to be a strong showing. I mean, Phoenix B, their B squad. It's going to be strong squad. We'll see. You're right. I think D2's that's going to be where we're going to have the most fun.
Yeah,
betting.
Placing bets.
Yeah. Where we decided this year, especially because like I'm not going to be competing, we're just going to be sitting on the sidelines, just doing some prop bets. So if you feel like losing a couple dollars,
how many dollar bills in total do you think will exchange hands between you and I over 3 days?
Oh, it'll only just be like no more than $5, but it's just gonna keep. Right. It's just gonna.
I'm just saying, how many times do you think?
How many transactions?
Yeah.
Oh man, at least 10 a game.
Yeah.
I don't know how many games there are total.
A lot.
It's gonna be a lot, yeah. So if anyone wants to get in on the action, just come find me and we'll take your action.
The bookie.
Yeah, I'll be wearing one of them. What are them like those green visors that those guys wear?
Gotta carry around the tickets.
Oh yeah. This is gonna be a total kind of like a Muay Thai. I'm gonna just be there, just
go see the guy with the green visor.
Yeah,
the one calling all the bets.
So I mean, after March, we're pretty much done with rugby. We can just stop thinking about it for a while. I'm sure that's gonna be a big relief. What do you got going on in April?
Well, the day after Nationals, I was supposed to go to Winter Sports Clinic for a week, but coronavirus killed that.
How much of a concern do you think this really is? Like, genuinely?
I don't want to call it either way because I don't know right now.
Yeah, it's tough, right?
Yeah. I mean, the story that I just heard about the little girl that got it at the airport, somebody that I know, and in the Orlando airport, couldn't even get tested for it for a week because they weren't providing tests.
Yeah. It's that's one thing that I thought about too, was because like the West Coast is getting pretty hit right now, and all those numbers that keep popping in. I'm just thinking like, how many of those homeless people that just live outside and are scouring through garbage and shit, and like,
yeah, but I think they come in contact with less people than somebody that works like around a bunch of people in an office every day.
Yeah, but it's just like, if one of them got it, I feel like they're gonna just infect that entire camp.
Sports teams are gonna get it the worst.
Yeah, you think?
Well, they're traveling all over. They're in airports constantly. They're in hotels constantly. They're touching each other constantly when they're playing.
Yeah.
One person on the team gets it, the whole team goes down.
Yeah. Well, the point I was making with like the homeless was nobody's accounting for any of it.
Nobody's accounting for
people
that aren't homeless right now.
Yeah, there's millions of them.
Think about all the people. If you can't get tests in most states, how many people actually have it right now but just haven't been tested?
I would hope that it's not a 1-to-1 ratio. Like for every one that we know has it, there's someone out there that.
Wouldn't it have to be that? You have to come in contact with at least one person by the time you figure it out.
You would think. I don't even want to fucking try to fathom what that would mean. Especially for that one person that doesn't know they have it and they're going around coughing and sneezing all over everyone.
The thing is, the people that are dying from it are people with compromised immune systems, right? They're like elderly or little kids or
guys like us.
Quadriplegics. I don't know if any quads have died yet.
I've been kind of self-quarantining. I haven't left the house in a couple days.
We're not kissing anymore, though.
No, that's never happening again.
Last time was the last time.
So with the winter sports clinic canceled, is your April just pretty much now kind of just open?
Well, April we start programs here, and we start the race season.
That's right. Do we have a Spartan race kind of lined up?
Yeah.
That we're looking at?
Yep.
Where's that at?
I don't know the schedule off the top of my head. There's like almost 50 races.
Yeah. I like that big graphic that we kind of just published. So we could probably share a link to that.
Yeah.
I thought it was pretty good. It kind of just outlines the whole calendar year for us. Because, yeah, you're right. How many of those do you think we go through?
You know what I realized I left off that somebody pointed out when I posted it was the wheelchair games.
That's probably subliminal, man. They're probably going to cancel it, right?
I mean, who knows?
I mean, it's all the way in July.
This next month is going to dictate a lot.
Yeah.
Seeing how it spreads or how people are affected.
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy. Originally, like, I was supposed to go to Southeast Asia with my brother, his girlfriend, and my mom. And yeah, we were just like, we're not going to Asia because of the virus. And so we kind of had some contingency plans, and we were looking at maybe going to Portugal and Spain instead. And now pretty much like a quarter of Italians, like they're all like quarantined, and who the fuck knows what's going to happen. So yeah.
Which country just declared martial law? Somebody just did today.
Was it us?
No.
Okay.
No, it was European. I think it was like Italy.
Oh, probably.
Somebody was talking about it in the office today.
I would not surprise me, man. And yeah, so we were just like, fuck, it's not a good time to travel right now, which honestly, if it was just me going, I think I would still go. But when it comes to, having family with you there, and it would suck if I was just like, hey, let's just go anyways, and someone else gets infected, then I'd be like, oh.
Well, that's what I thought when Dave asked me today if I had any opinion on it, the commissioner of the league. I was like, I think it's too early for me to make a call one way or the other, because I wouldn't want to be the asshole that cancels the event and this thing turns out to be nothing. And I also don't want to be the one that says, no, we're putting it on at all costs and, have 160 quads get it.
Yeah. That'd be pretty heavy to carry.
That'd be huge. Yeah, I made a comment to Dave about that, and I said, at least the headlines will read USQRA disintegrates, not Oscar Mike.
But we hosted it.
Yeah, but I mean, it's the league.
Yeah, but it's our backyard.
Well, we'll see. I think it would be more like wheelchair rugby, not the host of the event. If the league were to all die.
But you know what? The ones that did survive, I feel like we could turn it into a big fundraising campaign. And
oh my God.
I mean, not to sound like morbid or anything, but we get a big influx of money and we buy everyone chairs and cover their travel for the season. Could be.
I don't even want to go there, man.
Could be a good thing. But let's not hope that. I mean, we're not wishing that upon anyone or anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, so as far as clinic programs and everything, are we switching up anything new this year?
Not really. I mean, we started at the end of last year doing bigger groups, and I think that's the way to go.
Yeah, we got a huge response just doing that. Is it too late? Like if there was a veteran listing, is it too late to sign up, or do we still have slots available?
No, we still got slots, and I still want to pick who the peer mentors are going to be for
Not
each one. You're already doing it.
Not it.
You're doing it.
Not it.
Yep.
I'll do one.
Yes. That's all you're required to do.
Okay. I get to choose.
It's going to be the one that I do.
Definitely not it.
You wouldn't be my peer mentor?
No. What the fuck do you think I've been doing this whole time?
You've got enough of my mentoring.
Yeah, been here like your little Yoda.
The only thing that you've taught me how to do is drink bourbon. Before that, I could only drink like a glass of wine. You've helped me build my tolerance over the last couple of weeks.
Taught you how to get your ass kicked in class.
You did. That was definitely a free lesson. I appreciate.
You
missed my comments to Rob and Mark though. I believe.
What was that?
On Facebook, I told them that they have to get a class board and practice so that we can end your reign of terror.
My reign of terror? We're prospering. The what we're talking about is this Danish pub game that we've been playing called Klask with a K. Starts with a K and ends with a K. Kind of rhymes with flask. But it's
kind of
just this silly game that we've been really getting into. And it's somewhat quad friendly.
Yeah.
Not bad. It's pretty much what we're going to do when society collapses with the coronavirus. We're just going to be sitting downstairs playing class, waiting for our catheters to run out, and then it's over. It's over. It's over for guys like us. We will not fare well in the zombie apocalypse.
No, Tara used to say that if the zombie apocalypse happened, that she was going to put a bell under my chair and just push me out in the street.
Yeah.
I was like their getaway.
Yeah. It's just like, I think about that sometimes as far as, I mean, getting away from like the zombie apocalypse scenario, but an actual, let's say, emergency, like if the big one hits, the big earthquake, or like a tornado disaster, or even like a hurricane situation,
solar flares,
something
EMPs.
where you know you're not able to get your medical supplies for a while, you might be out of power. Like, and I've just thought about like how long would I be able to hold out in my house?
Can everybody else hear me swallowing too? Because I hear myself swallowing.
Yeah. If you need to, like, next time you do that, I'll just hit the mute on your mic, and now, like, no one can hear you at all. Yeah, they can hear you, like, through my mic, but that's it. But, no, man, in April, I'm going to be heading back home, going back to Oregon for a little bit, and then I don't know when, but I figured I'll probably be back out here sometime in the summer. But summer's starting to fill up, man. What are you looking at as far as the May time frame? You got any big events?
Yeah, May is clinics, races, but then we also have Memorial Day weekend where we're doing Rolling to Remember, which is the big bike rally now. It used to be called Rolling Thunder.
Yeah.
And then on Memorial Day, we do Ruck to Remember, which is a ruck around all the monuments, and it ends in Arlington at section 60.
It's probably about, what, 6-7 miles?
Yeah, if you just do the final miles, you
Yeah.
could do the whole thing, which is 60.
Yeah, which doesn't seem like a lot, but from what I've seen, they kind of go through some, like, pretty brutal terrain.
And I've seen everybody's feet afterwards.
Yeah.
It's pretty gnarly.
That's one thing I don't miss about being in the service.
Peeling the bottom of your feet off.
My feet aren't great, but fuck, man, when I was a Marine, there was just blisters everywhere and fungus and nasty ass nails.
Yeah.
And just
the rot, the little holes that would form in your heels and the balls of your feet.
Yeah, dude. And then just peeling off socks.
Yeah.
And you're just like, oh God, this sucks.
Yeah.
Don't miss it. I have not decided if I want to go do Ruck to Remember again this year.
Lindstrom's doing it. He just said,
Yeah.
I'm doing it.
It's a great time to be in DC. I just I don't know, man. For me, I'm just like, sometimes I just want to spend Memorial Day just kind of by myself. Not necessarily by myself, but like not do a big event like that, you know? I don't know. I don't want to say like it gets like overwhelming, but I think it's just like,
I think it's a good event to really make you focus on what Memorial Day is. I mean, it's a somber
for sure.
event, ending at section 60 and seeing all the gravestones.
Yeah, it is powerful for sure. It just, I don't know, man. For me to fly all the way out that way, I don't know.
It puts a real cost on the war, or wars in general, when you look out over that field.
Especially when you're just in section 60.
Yeah.
And you're just like, oh, these are all GWAT guys.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I guess it's not too late to sign up. So if someone wanted to, they could still go to like, what is it? Ruck to remember.
Yeah.
.org. Final miles. There's kind of like a vetting process if you wanted to do the full 60 though, I think. Like, because they want to make sure you're not going to drop out. Because they've had to like airlift people out, haven't they?
I think they had a couple serious, I don't know if they airlifted them. Maybe they did.
I thought I heard one, maybe not last year, but 2 years ago.
That sounds familiar. I think that did happen.
I think so. It's kind of crazy. No, yeah, it's a cool event, man. I guess I'll decide here pretty soon if I'm gonna swing it or not. There's this thing called the Overland Expo in Flagstaff, Arizona, that I've been kind of wanting to go check out because I think when I get home, I'm gonna finally pull the trigger on a full size van. Slowly start converting it and put a bed in the back and some kind of like water system and just something I can just kind of live out of.
Down by the river.
Down by the river, up in the mountains, out at the coast, wherever I want to park. Wherever I can park, I should say.
Yeah.
So
That actually sounds pretty cool, man.
Well, you might have to get some RV hookups for out front. Maybe I'll just pop a squat in the driveway.
Hey, Tim, you can come in, man.
No,
I'm good out here,
it's
dude.
more comfortable out here. Less quiet.
Less quiet.
Oh yeah. Inside my van, it'd be way less quiet than in here. In here, I got dudes vacuuming the floors at like midnight, doing all sorts of weird things. You know what I mean?
Oh, I do.
Yeah. Yeah, I hear your new vacuum cleaner's in the mail.
Yep.
Can't wait to start sleeping with some headphones in.
You're going to need to. It's going to be a game changer.
At midnight cleaning. What, as far as big things going on this summer, what do you got going on like in the June, July time frame?
Kind of the same stuff. I mean, I think wheelchair games is until July. My brother's birthday's in July. 4th of July, wheelchair games.
Your brother was born on the 4th of July?
July 1st.
Oh, okay.
Clark's birthday is on the 4th, though. That's why we always go to his house for
Oh, I didn't know that.
doing all the fireworks.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see. We got the vet games at the beginning of July, but everything's kind of up in the air, and I'm not really making any huge plans. I was kind of hoping to have everyone, because the games are going to be in Portland this year, so I was kind of hoping to have some of the guys over for, a little
Tiny Tuesday.
For sure, Tiny. You sure you want to go to those establishments when this Rona's going on?
I didn't say I was going to begin with.
You're going. But are you sure you want to go to one of these places with the Rona going?
Like I said,
I
didn't say that I was sure from the beginning.
Bro, I was a little bit nervous about going out to the bar on Friday. And then I remember we looked up the Asian population in Poplar Grove, and it was 0.0. It felt a little bit safer, but then we ran into one.
Yep. From Laos.
And obviously that's just a joke. People have been getting kind of like offended by some of the things I've been saying.
Like what?
And just taking it the wrong way, not realizing that most of the time I'm just bullshit and kidding around on this show. But yeah, I don't know. Whatever. Show's not for them if they don't get the humor.
I do remember somebody getting upset about something.
Yeah.
Episode numero uno.
Yeah, that's why my first episode is not on SoundCloud. And I had to re-edit it and uploaded it. Had to cut out some pieces.
You re-uploaded it?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's my pilot episode, man. Can't let that thing go in the ether.
I didn't know it was up.
Yeah. I did what we call a Frankenstein edit. So I took a bunch of that episode was about 3 hours and some change. And you said a lot of things in it. So what I was able to do was I was able to cut certain bits and add them onto other certain bits and bring back other voice clips from, and just kind of Frankenstein everything together.
Yeah.
I got you saying some pretty fucked up things.
Oh, great.
Yeah, that's what you get.
Why do I feel nervous right now?
You shouldn't, dude. Don't worry about it, man. Nobody said anything yet. Hopefully they go back and listen to it. You also forgot one thing. We got a concert we're going to.
Oh yeah, fucking Rage.
How stoked are you about that?
I am stoked. That's like the one concert I've been wanting to go to for a long time.
You've never seen him, right?
I've never seen
We
him.
finally, you scored tickets and decided that you were going to take me because we're buddies.
That's gonna be so badass.
Yeah, we also had decided that day we were going to do everything in our power to crowd surf, right?
Yep.
So if anyone happens to be listening to this and they're going to that show on July 11th,
I don't remember the date.
totally help us get our wheelchairs up in the air. I'll probably be throwing on a seatbelt for that one.
Tight.
Oh, yeah. Tight seatbelt, maybe a bicycle helmet. I don't know. Because, that weekend we were down in Tampa, we got to hang out with the old Rollin' Rick, the self-proclaimed first wheelchair surfer.
Yep.
And
What concert did he say he did it at?
he's done it at a bunch. They pretty much pay him to go to Lollapalooza and crowd surf. So, that's kind of his, thing. He just becomes... You know how you got those veterans that kind of go around and they got the exosuits and they stand for the national anthem and shit like that,
Yeah.
So Roland Rick's kind of thing is he just goes around and just crowd surfs at concerts and
That's not a bad gig.
looks cool for the promoters. Hell no.
I think if I was gonna pick something like that, I'd be one of the guys that works at Disney World, just getting people front of the line privileges, charging them $1,000 for a day.
Have we talked about that before?
I think, yeah.
About
somebody else told me about it. It might have been you. I don't know.
If I didn't have a pension coming in and I needed to make some money, I would 100% move down to Orlando and just become a professional. I guess you would call him a tour guide.
Wouldn't they catch on to it after about a week when they see it all the same rides? And
Well, what can they do? If you're a paying customer and you're just taking your friends, i.e. families that pay you to be part of their group.
I mean, it could be a good gig.
Oh, dude, there were dudes racking in.
Especially if you get to ride all the rides too.
Fuck yeah. Supposedly, they were charging $2,000-$3,000 a pop.
Sign me up.
For a 1 weekend of work. Dude, you line up a family.
Not to mention, you probably meet some cool families. You probably meet some horrible ones too.
Well, the thing that I wanted to do was mandatory. It's going to be in the contract. We're all going to go on Splash Mountain and get a family photo. And that'll just be my little collection. I'll just have a photo album filled with just me
Here's
on
all
Splash
the
Mountain
families
with
that
all the
I
different
photobombed.
exactly with all the different families. And I'll be like, yeah, this was,
The Smiths.
The Carnegies, and this is like the Johnsons, and these were the the Rodriguezes and the Rockefellers, and yeah, it's not a bad gig, man. I don't know if they kind of put an end to it, but yeah, man. If they cancel that fucking, are you still gonna come out to Portland if they cancel it?
I still got to jump on a plane to go to Portland. At that point, if shit's getting crazy, I don't know.
How bad do you think things are really gonna get in fucking?
Like I said, I got no idea, man.
I know, man. This is not how I envision the end of the world.
No, this is just an illness, isn't it? I mean, it's like the flu or the cold.
With the higher fatality rate, who the fuck knows? Actually, one thing that I kind of wanted to talk with you about was, if they end up canceling the vet games, it might be a good opportunity for you to finally do your scuba certification.
Yeah, that'd be rad to do this year.
Because earlier this week, I signed up to go diving again with the Life Waters group down in Cozumel.
Yeah, I'd love to do that one.
That's at the end of August, man. And I will say, man, out of all the places that I've dove or dived, I'm still trying to figure out what's the proper verb there. But
I think it's doven.
Doved? It's doved.
Yeah, out of all the places I've dove.
All the places that I've doved,
best.
Cause is one of the coolest just because of all the drift and the effortlessness.
And how nice and warm that is.
Yeah, I mean, I've been kind of spoiled. Like, everything that I've had has been in that, like, 82, 84 range.
That's nice.
But, yeah, man, Cause is cool. And it's Mexico.
Cozumel is just a cool spot.
Yeah, it's Mexico.
General.
Just an island, Mexico, off the coast of the Yucatan.
Sign me up.
It's pretty dope. And if you like seafood tacos, I know a spot. So, I mean, I think you should try to squeeze in a weekend to try to get your dive certification in, because
that's all it is a weekend.
Yeah, it took me, I think it was when I did it out in Phoenix, because Life Waters uses 2 different dive shops. There's one in St. Louis, which is the one probably that you would go to just because it's the closest.
That's like 4 hours.
Yeah, and that's where like Jody and Tuna, that's where they're based out of. So you'd be able to just link up with them. Or you can go out to Phoenix like I did. But when I did it out in Phoenix, it was one day at the pool at the Ability 360. And you're just doing, getting familiar with all the equipment and everything. Well, the day before, you go to the dive shop and you get kind of familiar with the equipment, learn how to set everything up. And they, go through your review, because you got to take that online course before it. And then, and then the second and third day, we went out to this lake, like north of Phoenix, and actually did our like open water dives, I guess our like lake dives. And then that's when you get your certification, and then you're good to go. It's kind of like your, I don't know, your little passport to fun. And, I mean, end of cause.
And then there's different levels, right?
Yeah, for sure. Because
Scary Larry's got a whole bunch, doesn't he?
Yeah, that dude's such a diving dork. The big one, is just to get your open water certification. That allows you to get out there and actually start diving at the most entry basic level. But like last year, I was able to get my advanced certification, and that's just when you kind of take on some more specialty courses. I got nitrox done. I think actually Life Waters will probably require you to do your nitrox certification. So you're just diving with nitrox instead of just oxygen. And then you got, like deep diving, because I forget what the forget what the limit is for just your basic open water certification, but when you do your deep dive, you can get down to like 110 feet. There's courses for like night diving and wreck diving. There's like advanced buoyancy courses, and there's like underwater photography, underwater nav, all sorts of cool things, man. That's one thing that I've been getting involved with a dive group in Portland called the Mouth Breathers, and one thing that they're really trying to focus on is figuring out, because like what Life Waters does really well is they kind of just get you certified at the basic level and a little bit of the advanced stuff, but for the most part, they're just trying to introduce you to scuba diving. Where the Mouth Breathers, we're trying to develop programs. So if you actually wanted to get into like the technical side of things and start doing shit like rebreathers, and one of my biggest goals is to get cave dive certified. But I think getting certified on the rebreather, getting deeper, getting into stuff like trimix, and just being able to go to those deeper depths. Want to start, kind of wreck diving a lot more. And I think some not entry level, because cave diving is pretty complicated in itself, but I don't want to do anything too crazy, but I think diving some caves would be fucking dope.
That would be sweet.
There's just an entire, I don't know, there's just a fascination with me of just going to places where people haven't been, or not a lot of people have been, and just, I guess what a lot of these advanced cave divers just really live for is like rewriting the map or drawing the map, because there's just so many underwater caves that we haven't explored. A lot of them are just, they're just right there, just no one's done it.
Man, the first time going into them and not knowing, especially if you got some tight fits.
Yeah, that's what I'm worried about. But no, I've watched a bunch of videos of YouTube of just these guys that are just going to like these caves in Mexico and discovering just pottery or like skulls. Dang. And you're just like, how the fuck did people get down here back then? And like, what else is down here, Because there's so much about the ocean we don't know. And then even just like the historic wreck dives. I got a buddy coming here this weekend, and back in December, he got to dive the USS Arizona in Pearl Harbor as part of the, I think it's governed now by the National Park System. But yeah, he just got with this program where, they allowed him to dive it and kind of learn about what they're doing to kind of preserve that wreck. And I just think something like that would just be incredible.
Yeah, it would.
And then that's all. I'm fascinated with all the naval vessels and like the military ships. But even, they're finding wrecks in the Mediterranean from the Roman time period. That's crazy. Like that, like, dude. And just imagine, like, that ship goes down in 600 AD or whatever, and it remains untouched. So you're going down there and you're looking at like all the different architecture and just the woodworking, and then just whatever cargo they were carrying, pots of.
Wouldn't all the wood be destroyed by then?
Nah, man. That shit gets preserved. There's like algae and shit that's growing barnacles and shit growing all over it. But for the most part, that water's salty enough, cold enough where.
Huh.
Yeah, it's interesting, right?
It is. Like, I know the whole thing with metal oxidizing.
Completely different.
Right.
Yeah. Which I'm not a scientist or anything, so I can't really explain it. But yeah, you got the unfortunate event of, talking to probably bottom 5% Asian.
Like, it's got something to do with the oxygen and
Yeah, there's no oxygen down there.
but there's oxygen in water.
Sort of.
H2O.
Yeah. 2-to-1 ratio.
I'm just saying.
I think something about like the hydrogen kind of preserves it. That's why like hydrogen peroxide like cleans and fixes everything.
Somebody smart is going to come on this and tear us apart for this.
Oh, dude, yeah. Somebody right now is laughing like these two dumbasses have no idea what they're talking about. But yeah, no, they do discover shipwrecks from the Roman time period and possibly even earlier.
It'd be fun to be a treasure hunter. You know, like map out where people actually sailed, what the routes were.
People do that.
Yeah.
There's something about salvage laws that allow you to.
There's entire ships that are made for that purpose, right?
Yeah.
Salvage ships. Like
I believe that's what they're called.
If I had to guess.
There was a show. There had to have been a show on Discovery Channel about salvage.
I don't know where I would have seen
hunters.
it other than something like that. Or a movie, a documentary. I don't know.
Well, isn't that what the Titanic movie was all about? Weren't they like treasure hunters?
The Titanic movie was about
Yeah.
the Titanic going down.
No. But when they had the old bitch on the boat, they were all treasure hunters, and they sent out that little like sub, and they found the Titanic. You remember that? The whole, wasn't it Bill Paxton? Weren't they all treasure hunters? They were looking for that diamond brioche or whatever. Remember that thing? The diamond of the sea?
No.
Did you even watch the Titanic?
That was in there?
Yeah, you remember the old bitch at the beginning, and she's pretty much telling her story.
I do.
Yeah, and so spoiler alert, like her husband, or no, her fiance Billy Zane gives her that. I believe it was called like the Diamond of the Ocean or the Heart of the Ocean. It was this big ass rock.
I think the word you were looking for was brooch.
Brioche. Right?
I don't know. That sounds like some kind of fancy bread you eat.
No, that's brioche.
Or cheese.
No, that's brie. I know my food.
You're combining two foods.
I know
and
my
you
food.
just made it into a
Yeah. Anyway,
a lady
so
would wear.
they're looking for that heart of the ocean thing. It's this fat fucking rock, and that they were just looking for it because they were like, we're just gonna pillage the Titanic because it was over 100 years ago or whatever. But yeah, long story short, spoiler alert, they don't find it, and she actually had it the whole time. And she throws it off of the back of their
this
boat.
uncomfortable hunk of rock up my ass for the last 100 years.
Well, that would be how she would have saved it, right? Because at the end of the flashback part of the movie, she's up on the door thing that's floating.
Yeah.
I don't think she's wearing it, and she definitely doesn't have any pockets.
Christopher Walken'd it.
Oh yeah, she put it in her prison pocket.
Prison pocket.
Man, that was. You know what? You know what's funny about that movie was, I think it came out in 1996, and I went to go see it with my mom, and that had to have been one of the first times I saw on-screen titties.
It's always weird when you're a kid and that pops up with your mom there.
Yeah, and we were in the theaters. So fortunately, it was a very dark room. There was a lot of things going on. 1996.
Is that about the age you were learning
I
about
was
yourself?
That could have been my first wood.
About
9 years old.
Bumpy road wood.
Yeah. And now it's just like it's out of control, man. What well, we're gonna get you diving. That was the whole point of that story. In kind of that September time frame, what are we looking at? You got 9/11. Are we doing anything special?
Possibly, but I was also asked to speak at a gala for that K cancer.
Talking about a gala
A gala. Yeah.
for kids cancer?
Well, it's actually this really cool program where kids, they teach kids how to run a nonprofit, and then
These kids have cancer?
No, they help other kids with
Oh,
cancer.
okay.
So like they'll take a baseball team and they'll get the ones that are interested in learning about nonprofits. They'll teach them how to run a nonprofit. They'll go back to their area, and if there's a kid that's battling cancer in that area, they help the family out, and the kids run the nonprofit.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah,
Why are they doing that on 9/11?
it's a good question.
Yeah.
Maybe the venue was cheaper. I don't know.
I feel like it'd be more expensive.
I don't know.
I've always wanted to do the Tunnel to Tower. I think it's a little 5 or 10K in New York,
Yeah,
where you go through the I don't know, what's it called, the Brooklyn Tunnel or whatever it is. It always seems like a cool event. It's a good cause,
yeah.
and seems like they help out a lot of people, build homes for veterans, like seriously injured combat veterans, and
Yeah.
I don't know. It seems like a good cause to get behind and a good experience. And the only thing stopping me is I'm just not really a big New York guy.
I'm not either. I find myself there way too often.
I've been there once, and I think that was enough.
Yeah.
I think I remember specifically leaving with my stepdad, and that was his first time there, and he's like, "Yeah, I don't think I need to do that again."
One of my buddies that works and lives in downtown Manhattan gives me so much shit for living out here. And he's like, "You need to come out to New York, man." I'm like, "Dude, that's hell on earth."
Yeah.
People on top of people.
I guess it's one thing if you live there and work there, you never have to leave the island or anything. But yeah, man, even for me, just being in Manhattan in the city, it's kind of a stimulus overload.
You know, it's like it's supposed to be where you can see your dreams come true. You know what I mean?
If you can make it there, you can make it anywhere.
That's what they say in the song. But I look at it and I'm just like, this is like it's oppression. This is the impossible dream, where anywhere else in the U.S. it seems feasible. Where in New York, you're just like, there's 8 million people on top of each other here.
Yeah.
It's like a rat race.
To me, it's just it's too much concrete, too many people,
Yeah.
way too many buildings.
No curb cuts.
You don't even have a place where you can throw a ball around.
You have to push for sometimes like 3 blocks just to find a curb cut.
Yeah, that sucks too.
Yeah.
And then not to mention that, like, if it's at night, there's garbage all over the fucking place.
Right.
Smells like piss coming out of the sewers, like hot, steaming piss. Then you mix that with the garbage,
Yeah.
and then all the rats that just kind of live.
Among the people.
Yeah, I mean, just like it's almost seamlessly integrated, kind of behind the scenes. It's just, yeah, it's not for me, man. I don't want to consider myself like a country boy, but I definitely need some space.
Yeah. I agree.
That's I think that's why starting in September I'm going to start getting kind of more deep into the hunting world, and just kind of doing a little bit more of like out of state hunting, and figuring that part of life out, because it's always something I've always been interested in. Just never really had anyone to show me the ropes or
How
give
big
me
of
the
an
opportunity.
animal do you think the track chair could pull?
Pole?
Yeah.
I don't think you can pull a moose.
I don't know. The thing's got balls.
You could definitely pull a whitetail.
Oh, for sure.
I don't know about
I believe that.
an elk, depending on the terrain. Now, if you were able to slide it up under some yoga mats,
I was thinking some sort of drag bag.
yeah, you'd have to figure something out. But yeah, definitely can't pull a moose.
You just have to Komodo dragon it first.
Dude, that video was so gnarly. But no, that's gonna be kind of my focus, and it kind of sucks because like September is also the kind of month that most teams start practicing rugby and
Yeah.
usually the first tournaments of the year are right there at the end of September. Chicago's at the end of September. I think Seattle usually tries to host theirs around that time. But I don't know, man. As far as me and rugby, we'll see. I mean, I'll still roster with you guys, but I don't know if I can really solidly commit to an entire season of tournaments.
You've been saying that for the last 5 years.
I know. I'm just going to jump in and out of when you guys need me and if I'm available. But I think at least from September to December, I'm gonna try to fill up my hunting schedule. So, what kind of expectations do you have? I mean, I know we're still wrapping up this season, but as far as next season, what do you see? What kind of things do you see happening for the militia?
I think it's gonna be a good year. I think we just need to get probably do a couple less tournaments and just switch it to like a few day long clinics.
Yeah,
where we're getting in a bunch of practice over a few days,
mm-hmm.
and then because you're right, that's the one thing that's missing is us gelling together prior to tournaments.
Yeah,
being able to read each other, get everybody, no matter what line is in, on the same page.
Team chemistry.
Yeah.
I mean, one thing that I would definitely like to see for next season is just the setting realistic goals and then also developing the next crop of guys. Because if you look at it, I mean, you and I started the militia in 2012. So 8 years ago. And the crop of guys that we had then are all getting older, So it's like it's time to start kind of thinking about like ushering on the new.
Yeah.
I mean, because how many years do you think it takes to make a fucking rugby player? I've been playing for over 10 years and I'm still learning shit,
Right.
So it's like we need to start developing those guys and just. The militia can't end when the forefathers retire.
Do you remember that kid Jacob Spivey?
No.
We had him out to one of our clinics. It was his first time in a chair. He was just brand newly injured from San Diego. He was super competitive out there.
Did we call him Shit Stain?
I don't think so.
That was another guy, right?
I don't know.
There was another guy we called Shit Stain, and he didn't really like it too much.
I don't remember that.
I don't think it was Jake.
Yeah.
But what were you saying?
Anyway, just getting guys like him more involved.
Yeah.
You could tell that he loved it when he was out there with us that weekend.
Damn, I must have not been here.
I feel like you were. I don't know.
Maybe I was on a bender. Maybe
I just erased that weekend.
Maybe I was day drinking. No, you're right. Like getting the word out. And that's one bummer with, if they decide to cancel the vet games, because that's kind of the biggest thing with me going to the vet games. It's like I don't really care for too much about the actual competition, but I remember, in 2009 when I was not even a year injured and just going to the vet games and seeing all these other quadriplegics living independent lives and just doing things that I didn't think was possible for quads. And then just reaching out, and how the community was just really into it, and like helping people out and saying, oh, this is the new guy, and just showing him like tips and tricks with, not only just rugby, but getting around, eating, shit like that. And I think that's kind of the biggest impact that the vet games have had on me.
Your first year at one of the vet games, being around all of those people and seeing all that it's a huge eye opener.
Right. Yeah. So I think you're right. Like just not so much recruiting new players, but just introducing them to kind of what we got going on here. Because there can be rugby players from, the league. I'll use Chris Fleece as an example.
Yeah.
I met him at a Phoenix tournament, and he hadn't really traveled independently until he came out to one of our, I believe it was either a rugby clinic or one of the
I think he did
athlete
both.
clinics, or both in one weekend.
Yeah.
And that was kind of his first weekend traveling alone, just walking him through it. And no, it was good. It was really good. Let's move to. He even got a bathroom named after him because he decided to get stuck in it at like 6 a.m. But moving forward to October. October is kind of a big month, yeah.
Yep.
That's when we decided to do our
Marathon.
Ooh, yeah, we can talk about that.
And the ball.
We're doing the ball on the 9th. Our big anniversary ball, and that one will be number 9? Well,
8.
not the 9th ball, but
Right.
the
Year
9th
9
anniversary.
Year 9, ball 8, ball 7.
We skipped 2 years, didn't we?
Well, the first 2 years we didn't have one.
Right. So this will actually be like the 7th ball, but for the 9th anniversary,
Yeah.
which makes 0 sense. I had no part of that math.
Carol's under the impression that we should just call it the 9th annual.
No one's gonna know. You just tell them the first 2 were just
In the garage.
you cracking open a
Slow
bottle of wine in
dancing.
the garage by yourself to
Yeah.
some Dr. Dre. I know it's still kind of like early, but are we gonna do some sort of like Facebook fundraiser again where you raise this much money and you get these many tickets and all that?
Yeah.
We're planning on doing that again.
Yeah.
It's always a good one, and it does a good job at like spreading the word out. And,
Oh, for sure.
and I notice you personally will donate. You'll kick like $20 for
Every single one of them.
everyone that you see.
Yeah.
So if you do a fundraiser, don't forget to tag Noah and you get your $20 voucher.
I donated like 20 grand last year in $25 increments.
Did you really?
Yeah.
20 grand?
Yeah.
No way. It added up. Huh?
Yeah. Yep.
Well, right on. Good on you. I know I did a fundraiser and met the goal.
Every time I see one, if it's for anytime I see one really for anybody, I do it.
Yeah.
My uncle DJ is constantly doing them for other groups, and I'm always donating to his. And
Yeah. And then we put it together, but the Sunday following the ball is also the Chicago Marathon.
yeah,
And it's open registration's already too late, but we're trying to pull some strings. Because you and I kind of got like a little friendly wager, yeah?
what was the wager? I remember us making it, but I don't remember what the wager was.
You thought you could beat me in a marathon.
Oh, that's gonna happen. But what was the wager?
It was dinner.
Oh yeah,
It was
Gino Giorgetti's.
It was that's if you win. It was, just the post-race
What do you mean if I
recovery
win?
meal.
That's what the bet is.
No, it was dinner. If I win,
You're the one that suggested that steakhouse.
I said we're going to a steakhouse.
You want to go to Martin's down the street instead?
Well, I was thinking maybe just Outback if I win.
Very well.
But yeah, no, we'd kind of talked about that, and you are still marathonless. Although I will say you've been training or have trained.
I'm gonna spank you in that.
We'll see. I don't think you've really have thought about how long 26.2 miles is.
I'm getting you by at least 1 minute on every mile. I'll beat you by almost a half hour or more.
You might start off your first like 13 miles like that, but I think by like the 20th mile, you're going to drop out and make up some bullshit injury. Like you got some blisters on your knuckles and you can't push anymore because your shoulder
I got
hurts.
blisters on my fingers.
Because your shoulders
Pink
hurt.
Floyd.
You're going to get a cortisone shot before it? Because I know your shoulder's been bugging you. You've been talking about it. It's like,
Last 2-3 years.
that's what you say. But also speaking of marathons, in November We're thinking about doing the Las Vegas half again.
Yeah.
Down?
I'm down.
Down. And
I missed that big time. You know,
That's
like seeing all you guys out there and me not being there.
why weren't you there last year?
Remember I was supposed to get Caleb's bib?
Oh, yeah.
And then at the last minute,
It was like non-transferable,
Yeah.
but then we found out you can just do it at the expo. And
right. Yeah.
yeah. No, well, if we can commit, I mean, if I can get, I know Kara said she might do it again. And if Josh.
Dude, at 13 miles, I still had so much more in me, and I was pushing in freezing rain, dude. I'm going to spank you.
Okay. I hope you do, because you're a 1.5. You're one whole point above me. So there's really no reason I should even be close.
Well, you think you're going to win somehow. It's not happening.
Well, if I'm even within a mile of you, should be a big it should be a big fail on your part.
You won't be.
Okay. We're going to find it. We're going to redo a podcast in October. We're going to recap the marathon, and we'll be doing it from your hospital bed, because you're going to be there.
I want photo evidence of you at every mile, too. I want times.
Are you accusing me of cheating?
Hey, I'm just saying, there wasn't a lot of intel out there on that first one of yours.
On my well, you can look at my second one.
Yeah.
It was even faster than my first one.
Catch me on my second one. How about that?
Yeah. And actually, if we end up doing the Chicago one, that'll probably be my third. And I keep saying I don't want to make a habit of these things, so it's probably going to be my final. There's really no reason to fucking do these marathons, man.
I'm only doing it to beat you.
Well, you should also do it just to do it, because you've only ever done them in a hand cycle.
I'm only doing it because of all the shit you talked.
That's fine. And if all that shit talking motivates you to become like a better person, Jesus. That's kind of what.
That's what the end goal is.
Well, isn't that kind of the underlying goal of like Oscar Mike and the mission?
You're just talking so much shit that I end up doing a marathon and beating you at it, and then you can call it a success.
Well, you can say it that way, but I mean, I would say it more elegantly. Like, it's to surround yourself with your fellow veteran brothers and push each other to become better people.
I don't care how eloquently you put it. Eloquently.
But yeah, I mean, isn't that what makes...
Don't turn yourself into a good guy right now.
Isn't that what makes us...
I see what you're doing, and it's not going to happen.
That's what makes Oscar Mike kind of unique, in a way?
It is, yeah. But don't try to pull this over on me.
Well, if you didn't sign up for the Chicago Marathon last year, would you have signed up for them?
I tried doing the Chicago one, but I was going to do it in a hand cycle, remember? Or
yeah.
Actually, last year was going to be my first.
So would you have ever considered doing a marathon in a rugby chair?
If you hadn't talked shit, probably not.
Yeah. And I probably wouldn't have done a marathon, my first marathon, in a rugby chair.
If you didn't want to talk shit.
If I didn't see how easy it was for you to do one in a hand cycle. And I was like, why even waste your time? Like, it's not even a challenge.
In a bicycle?
In a bicycle with gears. Dude, yeah. I was looking at the marathon times for like the Marine Corps marathon. And it's dumb how fast they're doing it in hand cycles. And I'm just like, all right, fellas.
It's even more dumb how fast they're doing them in the racing chairs. It's like an hour.
Hand cycles are way faster than racing chairs.
No.
Yeah.
No way.
You're so fucking dumb. We'll look it up after this, but you're so dumb.
No, I think the racing chairs are winning.
They're not. A hand cycle is way faster than a racing chair.
It should be, it feels like, but those racing chairs fly.
Yeah, they do, but a hand cycle is smashing fucking miles. But anyways, how the fuck did we get on that topic?
Talking about doing the marathon.
Yeah, that's one thing, man. Like, I was actually looking at doing the the Marine Corps Marathon 50K, and I wanted to do it in a hand cycle because it's in, DC in October, and I was just like, who knows what the weather's going to be like, and if it's raining in a rugby chair with some hills, it would suck.
Yeah.
Going uphill and then trying to slow down going downhill.
Dude, I'm telling you, if there's any sort of rain, pushing those rugby chairs is so hard.
Yeah. And I don't know how you went around the lake.
Inches at a time, it felt like I could only get so much, traction every time I did it.
Yeah. What's the longest distance you think you've ridden on your bike? Marathon?
Yeah.
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 Would you ever consider doing, because like I'm signed up to do the Seattle to Portland bike ride in July. That's 200 and something miles over 2 days. Would you ever consider doing something like that?
Possibly, especially if I could figure out how to make my body a little bit more comfortable, like my butt and back. Because once my spasms set in and that pain just starts throbbing,
yeah,
like after a few hours, I'm toasted.
How many hours are we talking?
I mean, usually that starts to happen around 4 without being able to get off of it, and doing lifts.
What was your marathon time in the hand cycle, if you don't mind me asking?
4:10, 4, yeah, somewhere right there.
4:10.
Yeah. Because I did it with Jeff and Cliff, who were running it, and
yeah.
I think we did it in 4 hours.
Yeah. Let me think. And you still had some more juice to go?
Yeah, but I mean, that's where I start hurting bad. I mean, I was spasming hardcore by the 4th hour.
Yeah. I'm just thinking, because in December there's this really cool bike ride from Miami to Key West, and I don't think it's quite.
That would be rad.
I don't think it's quite 200 miles.
How much do you do each day?
I think it's only something like 60 or 70.
So you're looking at
don't quote me,
8 hours a day,
ish. Yeah.
Yeah.
But if we did it at our own pace, and let's say,
can you get out in the middle of it?
Yeah.
Like get out of your chair for a while?
I think so. I mean, Seattle to Portland is pretty much kind of like, it's organized, but.
Dude, I feel like if I could get on my belly for like 30 minutes.
That's what I'm thinking. If we could find like a park.
Recharge the butt battery.
Yeah.
And get back in.
Well, I'm the same way when I drive, when I'm doing these 12-hour days.
I don't know how you do that, because when I'm sitting in a driver's seat,
yeah.
I feel like my max is more like 3 hours before I start kicking the gas pedals.
Yeah. Well, like having the truck that I do, I got that front bench seat, and I get down on my belly after a good. Sometimes I'll do it if it's early, and I'll do it like every 6 hours.
You flopping off onto the floor and not being able to get back up into that seat because you're all stretched out.
I'd be able to get back up. I should probably.
That's a tight fit.
I should probably do that one time just to make sure, but I think I'd be able to. There's enough things to kind of like rest your head on, get the weight off your butt.
I had the funniest story. I was fairly newly injured, and my cousin Brian was going to this job interview somewhere in the ghetto in LA, and he's like, just wait out in the truck for me. Or in the van. So I'm sitting in the passenger seat or in that space.
Yeah.
And he had driven. So once he got out, I was like, oh, you know what? I'm going to put the keys back in. I'm going to turn on the radio. I'm going to recline the seat back. So I get next to it and I go to transfer. And I don't know what happened, but I went head first down on the ground.
Oh, no.
And you know how your brakes are locked and you're just wedged like with your butt up in the air in that position.
Shit.
And so I'm trying to push my chair backwards, like at least get it out of the way so I can get my butt down on the ground.
So you were essentially, feet were still on the floor or on the foot plate?
I don't remember. I don't remember exactly how it went. I just know that I was like folded up with my head on the ground.
So you pretty much were like grabbing your ankles.
Yeah. So I'm trying to push the chair back and I can't get it out of the way. So now I have fallen over to where I'm like up against the door and
Passenger door.
Yeah. And I'm thinking, you know what? I bet you I'm low enough to where, or I think at first it was, if I open the door, I can push on the wedge of the door. So I opened the door up and I got that open, and then I started pushing on the wedge. And I was just, if I remember correct, all I was trying to do was sit up.
Were you just not able to get back in your chair, like your butt?
No, I was already out of it.
Okay.
Even when I was folded up, like I was already head on the ground.
Okay.
And couldn't get back up. So, and this is fairly new after my accident. So I wasn't really that great at transferring, you know?
Oh, none of us were.
And once the door opened, I remember putting my hand on the wedge and it slipped off. And now I'm hanging halfway out of the van with both arms or both hands on the ground outside.
And you're just in the hood.
In the hood. And so after a little bit, I could hear people walking like somewhere close, but they weren't walking past me. So it's like just far enough out of view where they're probably like, look at this motherfucker. He's hammered or something, because they don't know that I'm in a chair either. They can't see the chair. They just see this dude hanging halfway out of his vehicle like,
thinking you're fucking tweaked out or something.
Right.
Yeah.
So finally I started, I could hear like two guys closer to me. And I was saying, is anybody over there? Can anybody hear me? And then these two guys walk up. Neither of them spoke English. So they're looking at me. Now, what had happened after all this spasming and me hanging halfway out of the vehicle, my pants are down.
Nice.
So I'm spasming. I'm hanging out of the vehicle. Two guys that don't speak English come up, and they just see this half-naked dude spasming, like shaking my legs, and me hanging halfway out of the vehicle. And so they approached real cautiously. They walked up real slow, and
were they Chinese or?
No, they were Hispanic.
Okay.
And then they started like peeking into the van, and they saw my wheelchair, and then you could see the light bulb go off, and they started talking to each other, and I don't know what they were saying, but they're like, oh, this motherfucker fell out of his chair, And I was like,
well, they were probably thinking, hey man, my cousin could probably use that chair.
Right. Like, I don't know what's about to happen right here, but I hope that they help. And they tried picking me up, and it was the funniest thing, because the one guy's trying to like scoop me up in the door. Like, it's not going to work like that.
Meanwhile, your pants down, dong out.
Right. So eventually they opened up the side door, backed the chair up away, so that there was room. And then I think just the one guy scooped me up. And then he asked me, I think he was trying to signal, like, do you want help with your pants? And I had a hoodie in there, and I threw it over my lap. And I was like, nah, man, I'm good. So then they leave, and I'm still sitting there for like another half hour. And I'm thinking, I'd be way more comfortable if I was in that seat. So I went to go do the transfer again. This time I made it. But my cousin comes out of the building, and he walks up to the driver's seat, and he looks in, and he's just like, the fuck are you doing? Because he just sees me sitting there with my pants down.
Right.
Sitting in the driver's seat. Like,
he's thinking you might have picked up like a little walking by hoe.
You just jerking off in the driver's seat so I can get back in it?
Yeah.
And then I told him the whole story. I'm like, he was just there for a job interview, so he was inside for maybe an hour.
He get the job?
No.
Damn.
No. That was perfect.
I got a soundboard. No, man, we'll wrap it up, dude. Thanks for coming on and doing the anniversary show.